Thank you very much for joining us. I am Yori Folani. We've been talking about, insecurity in the country, especially in the northern region, and particularly in the northwest. We were speaking about that yesterday. Okay, today we'll continue that theme, but perhaps with a twist, because all sorts of ideas are being explored. Now, our guest, Mr. Isaac Abrak, he's a journalist. He's also chairman of the Northern Christian Youth Professionals. And one of the projects, or one of the, let me just call it that, one of the projects that they have been solidly behind for quite a while, been campaigning about it, is, we might not have paid enough attention to forest guards. And he feels, because we've discussed all sorts of possibilities, and he thinks that forest guards hasn't got as much press as it might have. And he's here to talk to us about that and how we might be missing out, and how indeed it would be organized if the forest guards were to play a crucial role in stemming this tide of insecurity in the country, especially as it is said that all these bandits, terrorists, kidnappers, whatever you call them, often withdraw to the forests. Good morning to you, Mr. Isaac Abrak.
Good morning, Uncle Yori. I'm happy to be back on the show. Good.
Indeed, thank you very much. Okay, well, that introduction just about says it all from our point of view, but really it's over to you now to explain. Forest guards, you think that they could make a difference? Tell me about it.
Yes, the forest guard, have been existing, as a unit in the state's ministries of agriculture. They have basically been mandated, to guard the forest in terms of protecting tree felling, in terms of also protecting, hunting, illegal hunting, on animals in the forest. So that was their responsibility. But President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, God in his infinite mercy, gave our president the wisdom, to identify the forest guard in his manifesto and to revitalize the forest guard and use them, to combat, these violent groups who are hiding in our forests. And he further went forward.
Yeah, sorry, sir. Thank you very much for giving us that overview, and that's what most people indeed understand as the key role of forest guards, protecting the integrity of the forests. As you said, illegal logging, tree felling, protection from overhunting, and that kind of thing. So that maybe you now go ahead and explain how guys with that important function or functions, these are criminals that often are armed, and indeed, if you're going to go ahead and call them terrorists, they come with all sorts of training. Do you think the forest guards would be a match? Because their training, I would argue, is sort of different from the skill set that might be required as a counter terrorism group.
Yes, our commander-in-chief, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, is effectively aware that the forest guard, as it is not adequately trained and equipped, to combat these violent groups, which we should, all of us, just qualify them as terrorists. I was watching on your program yesterday. One of the security experts made it very clear that all of these people are terrorists. So in the course of this discussion and henceforth, I'll be referring to all of them as terrorists, because that is what they are. And since these terrorists use sophisticated weapons, and since these terrorists have trained and experts and specialized weapon users amongst them as mercenaries, it is important that we also train our forest guard, and bring them up to the standard that they can combat, this challenge in the forest. And this was why the president said he was going to revitalize them. And he has gone ahead to charge on the state governors to strengthen them in terms of numbers and also arm them. Arm them to the level that they should be able, to help assist the military, to combat these violent groups. And when I say assist, I'm using it there very strategic, because the major role that the forest guard would be playing is basically mostly intelligence. But they will also be trained by the military. These are our recommendations. They will also be trained by the military to know when to engage and when not to engage. I give an example. In Kaduna State, during the abduction of the school kids in Kuriga, the state security outfit called the Kaduna State Vigilante Service, they had their men on ground in that community. And when these terrorists had kidnapped these children and were leaving, this handful of these vigilantes attempted to go after these people. So this is clearly a case of lack of sufficient training, because given the reports that we had, these terrorists came in at least 50 of them, all armed in AK-47 and other sophisticated weapons. These vigilantes, I'm not sure if there are more than 15 or 20 of them. And I'm not sure if they had anything more than a shotgun and then guns and then sticks. So how can you now go after a group of people who are specialized in this, who have AK-47? So in the course of trying to go after those the bandits, to rescue the kids, one of them was killed. So you see, this is why it is important to train, these security outfits who are on ground. And when we talk about these security outfits that are already owned by the state governors in these states, we now ask the questions: are these security outfits, are they now playing the role of the forest guard, as to which the president charged the governors to go and implement in their states? If the question is yes, then it means there is a need to recalibrate, these security outfits, because in Kaduna State we have it is called Kaduna State Vigilante Service. In Zamfara it is called Community Protection Guards. In Katsina it also has a similar name. Sokoto State has a similar name, and all of these things. So, and also these differences in names, and commands and all of that also bring a challenge. And this is why we are saying that the forest guard should have been a national body. A national body that will coordinate the monitoring and securing and governing of this forest on a national scale. Because I don't know, sometimes I just wonder. I believe at the same time that the CNC, the governors and the security experts have a good understanding about the challenges that we have in this forest. Because what we have in this forest is a national problem. It is something that it needs even a case of a national emergency. So if we have a forest guard that is coordinated, at the top, they are wearing the same uniform, they receive the same one chain of command, they are liaising amongst themselves, and each state is holding its command, there is no way that somebody can sneak in from state A and go and kidnap people in state B and take them to state E and go and hide them there. Because this is the case that we are having in the country right now. A case where people are hiding in another state, go to another state, perpetrate a crime, and take the hostages to another state and begin to collect money from it. It makes it difficult, to monitor. So as such, the Northern Christian Youth Professionals, we are calling that the president should look into this. Can't he make it a national body?
Okay.
If he does not want to make it a national body, the federal government should design a national framework for the states, so that each state forest guard or vigilante, as they want to call it, would fit into that framework, so that we have uniformity, of operation, Even the difference in uniforms is going to cause a problem. Is going to cause a problem the way we see it. Please go ahead, sir.
I hear you, Isaac. I hear you. So actually, we're at the stage of advocacy now. My concern is you actually said vigilante, as other people might call it. But I was thinking that forest guards are a different set of specialists. The vigilantes and all of those kind of people, they also have their own specializations. But as we started off by acknowledging that usually forest guards are a bunch of professionals, their area of competency has been seen to be what we spoke about earlier, and so they might not have the skill set necessary to take on attacking criminals. So, I mean, yes, poachers, for instance, might be within their province because they want to protect the livestock within the forest and all of that. But that's a far cry from the kind of thing that we have here. And from the way you said it, I guess you expect that legislation would need to be amended in order to accommodate them. That's my thinking, because the way it is now, it's a far cry from what you've just said, that, look, let there be a unified structure. So wherever you have them, there are forest guards. So we're going to have to look for personnel in addition to what we have. They'll have to upgrade them, maybe equip them differently now that they're going to be able, they're going to have to go into combat operations as well. But I thought, and I was a bit encouraged when you spoke about their principal area would be in the area of intelligence. Now, forest guards, perhaps they're close cousins to forest rangers, as we hear from other area. The tracking, I would imagine, is going to be their specialty. And that's why I link that tracking to intelligence in order to assist other units that it is, and that not other units, police in particular. Yesterday you heard us speaking about, with the professor, who is an expert, you heard us saying that it's the primary responsibility of the police, but because there might be some inadequacies there, is why we often think of the army going on in. So adding the forest guards, there's a lot of work that needs to be done, perhaps.
Yes, Uncle Yomi, it's a lot of work that needs to be done. And if you look at the propensity to which we are being attacked, if you look at the level of hurt and pain and damage that is constantly on a daily basis being inflicted on our people, mostly people who are innocent, rural dwellers, you would know that it is time for us, to be brave and fall off our sleeves and engage to make the forest guard, really standard, to fight this insurgency. And it is not so difficult. It is not so difficult because we already have the manpower. And who are the manpower? We are talking about the people who are dwelling in the rural areas. We are talking about the people of Kuriga community, for instance. These are the people who will be recruited into this forest guard. And please let us note, because I am aware
before interrupting you, I'm so sorry to interrupt you. We'll come right back to you just to inform our viewers that we're breaking away, nationally because there's a live event that has to be covered in Oyo State, Ibadan, Oyo State, for the inauguration of the Agodi Gate Civic Center and Idiape improvement works by Governor Seyi Makinde. So just to advise our terrestrial viewers that that's going to be the situation, but we're still good with the diaspora viewers. So very sorry, but I had to quickly make that announcement before viewers begin to be surprised as to what exactly is going on. So please continue, Isaac. We still have our viewership.
Okay. So what was I talking about? Yeah, the manpower.
You were talking about the skill set, trackers, vis-a-vis foreign rangers, forest rangers, and then being able to take all that expertise, intelligence, gathering, whatever, and hand it over to those who can really work with it because of their specialized training.
Yes. First, we already have an already made manpower, a special manpower, which is unique in its own self. That is the people who are dwelling in the forest communities or the rural dwellers. These are the people that we must recruit into the forest guard, or if we like, the forest rangers, or if we like, the vigilante services.
Okay.
We should not...
Hello? No, please continue. You're good.
Okay, we should not entertain a situation whereby, I was given an example. The Kaduna State Vigilante Service recruited most of its personnel from the local government, through the local government to the wards levels. Now, that is good, but we should be careful, because in some cases you will go and say we want people to recruit people from Kuriga, and we will end up going to the townships to go and get people who will perceive are better skills in terms of education, you know, and say, okay, this one has graduated from a university or from a polytechnic, let us recruit him. But this man that we are talking about has moved from the village. He's now dwelling, or has moved from the forest. He's now dwelling in the town or in the city. So how do you expect this man to function effectively in guarding the forest? Or definitely he is not efficiently tooled or still tooled, you know, to guard this forest as much as somebody who is always domiciled in Kuriga. And as such, those are the people that will be home and comfortable in the forest 24 hours, manning the forest. Uncle Yori, we need to take the fight to the bandits in the forest. We shouldn't be like responsive that they carry out an attack, then we'll now make calls and we'll now have troops coming to respond. No, we should have forest guard in the forest with them, monitoring their movements, monitoring their plans. What routes are they taking? When did they have do they have ammunitions coming to them? Do they have more visitors that have come to help them organize some certain special kind of operations? These are the only ways that we can have an adequate monitoring system that can provide an efficient intelligence to our troops and other security agencies that will help us clamp down on these people.
Okay, well, as I said, just to repeat, viewers, especially in diaspora, our UK channels are still up, Sky 534. Viewers in Nigeria can also continue to watch us. Many people know this, but maybe not everybody, that the YouTube channel at TVC News Nigeria, they can continue to watch this program there as well. And indeed, some people actually have free-to-air satellites. And so maybe if you could pass that word around while the service nationally is over in Ibadan, as I was saying, covering the Oyo State. You know, there's a live event, inauguration of the Agodi Gate Civic Center. So, yeah, I got that. I got what you said, and well, yeah, because we're exploring every kind of opportunity that we can, and that's why we're going to the area of forest guards. But it's a work in progress. I mean, it's like we needed this. We need to have had this yesterday. That's how urgent the situation is. And you were saying that the president is minded to doing the needful to upgrade them. Maybe even bring in other professionals and specialists to their ranks. But the other key thing that also coincides with the professor that we were speaking with yesterday, and that's Professor Muhammad Baba, that we were speaking with yesterday, this whole question of the people themselves, we the civilians, we need to actually be up and doing, be alert. The whole concept and principle of see something, say something. That's very, very important. Maybe you'd like to spend a bit of time on this, because people, civilians, and these are assets. It could be women, could be young men, could be children who might report to their parents that they'd seen something strange. all of this could possibly enter into the fray in this our fight against terrorism. But the people are afraid. And it was suggested yesterday that, well, there's going to have to be a special initiative again to sort of enlighten, teach, encourage, and embolden these people to not be apathetic, to not just be watching. You see something, then let it be known. You say something. How difficult do you think that will be? Because let's face it, our people are not a militarized sort of a people, and we've had peace for a long time. And so they might be apprehensive and scared of standing up to be counted in the fight against all this banditry, kidnapping, terrorism, and all of that. How easy a task do you think that would be to enlighten members of those communities you were speaking about to become active participants?
Yes, you see, like the attack in Delta State. That attack in Delta State has given us an opportunity, you know, to either improve or mar the relationship between our security apparatus, in this case the military, you know, and members of the public. But, and this was why my group put out a press statement, you know, a day after that happened, reminding the military that they should go in there not seeking for revenge, you know, but seeking for justice as they always would do, you know, in a way that would not bring about innocent people being punished for what they did not do. Because as a journalist who has covered insecurity, terrorism, particularly Boko Haram in its early days, we know that one of the issues that created, that emboldened, you know, the spread of Boko Haram was the issue of the high-handedness, you know, of the way our dense troops, you know, handle issues in cases where their colleagues were attacked.
Okay,
a situation
you're
whereby
speaking about things to watch out for. I beg your, so sorry, Isaac. You're speaking about things we should watch out for. But let me ask you to pause there. Let me bring on Ada, who has called in from Jos. Good morning, Ada.
Hello.
Good morning. Go ahead, please. Ada in Jos, can you hear us? Good morning. Please go ahead.
Hello, Sayori.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, ma'am. Go ahead.
Hello, yes, good morning, Mr. Yori and your guest.
Yes, thank you.
Mr. Ada calling from Jos State. Yori, I agree totally with your guest, you know. You see, the problem we have in Nigeria is that we are just living in denial. I mean, this issue of insecurity is something else. It's really something else. And I think the problem is not even what you call them, whether it's forest guards, whether it's a vigilante, whether it's hunters. You know that these hunters, vigilantes, they have been doing a lot of things. That's why the fact that they are not armed. So what the President Tinubu should do is let them allow these vigilantes to be trained, the hunters, all of them, and then the forest guards, whichever they want to do it, but it will be better if it's a national thing. And then let all of them allow to stay out. Even if it's a problem, you know, they're not allowed to bear subscription out. Then let them now go to the forest simultaneously, all the forests simultaneously or in Nigeria, you know, nationwide. And then when they do that, they stay back. They have some that will stay there at the forest. We are all these people to live in the forest. They go to the forest. It's not as if we don't know where they go to. They go to the forest. So why allow them live there? You know, as if it's an organized kind of crime that is happening in Nigeria. And for how long we will allow it to continue like this? That's the way to go. Then we allow state police. I saw one screaming in headline today that 16 governors. Yes, if it's only 16 governors that want to do the state police, because some of them want to pocket their security, vote or whatever it's called. But they forget that life is more important than that money, you know. So then let it be. Let the National Assembly hasten this matter of state police. Let them single it out and amend that constitution. You know,
okay.
We can't continue like this. You know, people go to the forest with people. They stay forest. We know they are there. Nothing is done. When we wait for it to happen, what kind of a country is this? All the same, let's all give for Nigeria.
All right, then. Thank you very much, Ada. Ada in Jos there, Isaac, agreeing essentially with what you were talking about. And I think especially in the area of the involvement of all of the communities that border these forests that we're talking about. As you well know, we hear from military experts that, look, the longer it takes for there to be a reaction, the harder it is to find and rescue these people. So if within minutes, hours at the very, very worst, within minutes, hours, capable people are in hot pursuit, that would be a really good thing, and that can only happen if everybody is involved, because oftentimes the authorities don't know until unnecessary and unwieldy amount of time has passed. Oftentimes you call for police, people say they didn't come for 4 hours, they didn't come for 5 hours or 6 hours because of this and that and that. But the military experts say that in kidnappings, especially abductions, the sooner you can get after them, the better, before they have time to settle down, embed, and go very far into the forest.
Yes, that is true. I mean, even in my hostile environment training for journalists, the best time for you to make an escape or negotiate your release is at the location where the kidnapping is happening. Once you leave that location, it becomes increasingly difficult. So yes, it is true. We had that same situation in Chibok. We had it in Dapchi, whereby the locals will call and say, in fact, they will call even before the attackers arrived to school. In Chibok, we had that. Even hours before the attackers, the perpetrators arrived to school, they would call. But maybe because of terrain, maybe because of distance between the troops and the scene of crime, it's very difficult for our troops to get there, or makes it impossible for them. So with the forest guard now, which have the locals, the people of Chibok, let's say for instance now, if they had been, tooled and trained, to know how to protect themselves, or know how to even provide sufficient intelligence, that would get the army there in time, or the army can tell them, like in some cases of first aid, they will tell you, you can first do this before a medical doctor arrives. So we can train, the local people there, who will be the forest guard, on what to do, before the troops arrive. Is it to monitor them and see where they get to? All of this.
As you heard Ada say, she doesn't even particularly care what you call them. Just like you had said, if you want, call them forest guards, call them vigilantes, call them whatever it is. But these are being added to the whole resistance. These people can't be allowed to run a ring around us.
Yes, but Uncle Yori, it is important for us to have, in our own estimation, one unified group organization that would fight this insurgency. You see, sir,
that is going to require legislation, right? That is going to require that is going to require, of course, new or amended legislation.
Yes, it's going to require a new legislation, which is true, which in most cases, it takes a lot of time. But given the level to which these people are attacking us every day, last night I saw that they attacked Niger State Market. 3 hours before then, I saw that Benue State was attacked. Few hours before then, I saw that they stopped a KSTA, a bus, a government commercial bus, was stopped, and all the passengers were kidnapped. They are attacking us every day, all over the country. So that means that our government, whether the executive and the legislature, should sit up. The president can send an executive bill, to the National Assembly, or the governor to the State Assembly, and within a short time, this legislation, this law can be reenacted or adjusted to fit into what is going on. Uncle Yuri, we are talking about 287 children who were kidnapped. That means that about 200 families in Kaduna State are grieving. And as a journalist who has covered insurgency, all of these abductions, I am still dealing with parents whom I interviewed in Chibok, who have not seen their children, who are still grieving as if it is today that those children were taken. Some of those parents in Kaduna State have probably not eaten. And this is not an exaggeration. No. Some of the mothers would not eat at all. They will be crying 24 hours every day.
Yeah.
I have done stories where I do documentaries, where I just don't go and interview them. I can stay with the community for almost a month, talking to them. These people will be grieving. I can assure you again that in Kuriga, those 200 families are not going to go to the farms. Their life have been cut short. Why am I bringing all this? I am saying that if there is anything that the government would do in terms of adjusting the law, our problem today justifies that we should sit up and get it done and collaborate and get it done all together. Because, Uncle Yori, please let me make this point.
Let me bring in Esther. I beg your pardon. Esther has called in from Abuja. Let me add her to the program. Good morning, Esther. Good morning, Esther in Abuja. Esther, are you there? Esther called in from Abuja. Can you hear us, Esther? Yeah, as you were saying, Isaac, you were saying that you've often been embedded with, families of abductees, and it really turns their life upside down. Now, the other issue there, as we were saying yesterday, is that it's not news that the numbers that are available to us, if you like, combine police, combine the military, combine the civil defense, combine all of these people, or put them all together, Ebubeago, the other one from the south, all of these people, considering the population, it's inadequate. So all these guys are actually heroes. They know before we go too far that they're in almost out of their depth, but they are not because of that staying back. So that's another problem. That's, it's like for now, until that's why I sort of see what you're saying, that all those people responsible for the laws that need to be, enacted for us to have what we need to have, should see it as an emergency. They say that lawmaking wheels grind quite slowly. But, okay, I hear that Esther is back. Good morning, Esther in Abuja.
Yes, please.
Okay, please go ahead now. You're on air.
Okay, sir. Yeah, I just wanted to say something concerning what the question you asked your guest there.
Sure.
Pertaining what are they going to do in order to encourage people to see something and say?
Yes, sir.
And to me, I think the National Orientation Agency has to make everybody to be safe, because there are so many times when you report something about security, you discover that your life automatically is not safe. Because we can imagine that they will go to a school and pack about 218 people and nobody will see. It's not true. Either we are lying to ourselves or the leaders are lying. That's just the thing. So I wanted to let you know that they have to make the civilians to be sure that they are safe whenever they report any issue.
Thank you. Thank you very much for that contribution, Esther. We touched on it, that people who see something, they might be afraid, because as Esther has just said, maybe speaking from knowledge of knowing people involved, that it's a very dangerous thing ordinarily, the way we are right now, to see something, say something. It's a very dangerous endeavor, and she therefore brought in the National Orientation Agency. It was a silent question in there, but she's probably asking, so what have they been doing, and can they do more?
Yeah, yes, when you asked this question, I was on it. What I wanted to bring in with the case, with the incident in Delta State, is that the way our troops respond, to issues like this that has happened as their personnel were slain, always determine how much or how good or how efficient is the public and military relationship is. And this level of the level of this relationship, will determine how much, people, the public would collaborate in terms of dissemination of information, to the security apparatus. Somebody might just say, is it not just in Delta State? No. If the military conduct themselves very well in the search for this justice in Delta State, and I believe that is what they are doing, then it is going to rub off on the whole nation. But when you have somebody in Okuma saying, in that community saying, they came up, they beat everybody, they burnt out everybody, it is going to go around the whole Nigeria. And that is how, that will affect how people will respond to them. It was the same case that we had in Maiduguri. That led to how Boko Haram was blossom, and people did not want to cooperate with the military because they felt that they were being victimized for crime they did not commit. We understand that it's a complicated issue, but the military, our armed forces are trained, they are professionals, so we always would believe and expect them, to carry out their investigations, professionally, with at least minimal risks. I'm happy that in the case of Okuma, in my best estimation so far, we have not had any negative story coming from there. And if that is what it will be all true, then it means that we are going to continue to maintain a good relationship, between the public and the military. And that is when you are going to see people who will be happy to always pick up their phones and report. Because let's also go back to the days of let us also go back to the days of Boko Haram. These are lessons that we took from the issues of Boko Haram. Is that in most of the times, when people were calling to give intelligence reports on their neighbors, this Boko Haram will somehow find out. And in most times, it is from the agencies that this report goes to, will find out the name of that person, and they will trace that person and go and kill him. Uncle Yomi, this is what has constituted fear in terms of the public, especially in the north here, where people hardly want to respond because they feel that the thing will have a boomerang effect on them. But thank God, times are changing. Thank God, the military have been able to surmount Boko Haram, and as such, we are saying that the case in Delta State should continuously be treated professionally, because Nigeria has never needed a time whereby the military would need the full cooperation, or our security apparatus will need an efficient cooperation, from the public like this time. Because like even the vigilantes and the forest guard most of their roles will be provisions of intelligence, and they are civilians.
Now, how about the role of traditional rulers? Because, look, if people are afraid to speak directly to the authorities for leakages such as you described, at least perhaps they are better trusting of the traditional rulers. But that also has not been a very straightforward aspect, as we have heard. It is said, for instance, that these people largely are known. They are not spirits. They are not unknown. It is now the courage to do something. They know when there's suspicious activity, or if not suspicious, unusual activity in their area. Now, all of these can be brought to the fore, whatever is the most convenient and trusted way. You have the religious leaders. They are very, very influential, especially up north. Then there are the traditional rulers. Because I'm saying all of this because we have to explore every single asset at our disposal. And the people, as you've said, as you yourself have said, is a key asset. The citizenry is a key asset. Talk to me on your experience and findings as regards traditional rulers and what they can bring to bear on this fight.
Of course, Uncle Yeri, the forest guard. Our recommendation is that the traditional rulers are going to play, a big role, in this, because they are the owners of the forest.
One second, please.
They are
1 second, please. Before you continue, Tiamiu has called in from New Jersey. So let's take him. Good morning, Tiamiu.
Hello.
Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning, Tiamiu. Please go ahead. You're on air now.
My contribution is we should not be
talking too much on what is happening. What will be the solution to the problem?
And that's what we're talking about. What do you think? What do you think?
911.
Oh, God.
You know,
911, okay.
We operate local government, government council. But besides that, each DPO office should have 911 operators 24 hours. So that if anybody sees anything, they should be able to call. Good morning.
We can hear you. Continue, please. We can hear you.
Okay. They should be able to call the law enforcement agency.
All right, Tiamio.
What I observe is that some of the law enforcement agencies are corporate because they collaborate.
We can hear you, Tiami. Don't wait for the feedback, for the echo. Don't worry about the echo. But I think Tiamio has contributed the main thing he wanted to say. Speak to that so that Tiamio can, be rest assured as to whether we do indeed have these kind of central numbers that other people have. He was speaking about what he's familiar with over in New Jersey. There, you can call 911. In England, it's different. We also have such numbers, don't we?
Yes, Okuyomi, I'm having a bit issue with my audio here.
I'm sorry.
So if you can, if you can be made better.
But
so I didn't hear Tiamini so clearly.
What he said was that he advised that perhaps you could have numbers such as 911, for instance. That's what he's familiar with. So I was asking you that we also have such numbers, but perhaps tell me how useful they are, because you pick up, you call 911, you get an instant response. So Tiami was saying essentially that 911 numbers, numbers, should be working round the clock, 24 hours. What would you say to that contribution from him?
Yeah, it's a very good contribution. It's basically to aid the flow of communication, between the people, and the security people.
Yes.
But again, and we have these numbers available at all strata, of government, at the state, federal, I believe also at the local governments, even the police stations, the local police stations, I believe they have these numbers. The numbers to call, I don't think are the issues. And
no.
It's so far in my journey of 15 years of covering this insurgency, the security people have always picked up their calls. But the thing is that is for them is at the time that they can respond, get to the scene where this happens. So it again counts back, to the how immediate can we have people who are trained, security experts who are trained to be on the ground, to respond to this to criminal happenings, and this is why we are professing, we are further pushing in that the people in the community, the immediate people in the community should be trained into the forest guard or the vigilante, to be the ones to be the first responders. You can train them, as the Kaduna State Governor, is saying that he wants to put AK-47s, on the hands of the state police, to be able to respond adequately, and that the forest guard is not approved by law, to have weapons. But I also have been wondering that the commander-in-chief of the Nigerian Armed Forces, being the president, has charged the governors that they should arm, this forest guard. So if these people, whether it is the state police that are in the community, or if it is forest guard that are in the community, if they have these weapons and they are efficiently trained as to when to engage and when not to engage, it will help. Yes. It will go a long way.
Mazi Okoroafo in Aruchuku, good morning to you, sir.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, I guess. Yes, sir. When we talk about this issue of ignorance, we call it. See, or other vices, there are two things we have to look at it. One, When Shakao was in power, when Shakao started this 10 years ago, his own was based on education. There's no Western education. Now, if you look at this present day kidnapping, anything you may call it, these are terrorist brand of ISIS in this country. Now, what do? We have to go back to the basics. See, when the Civil War ended, there was a lot of armed robbery attack, and armed robbery that was in the eastern Nigeria and the south, call it eastern Nigeria, because eastern Nigeria is made up of south and southeast. What will happen at the other states overlooked it? They say, well, that is a civil war after effects. Nobody cares about it, to fight about it. Because that time the robbery was daily. Because you may be in the bank, you see what is happening. But right now, we have to go back to the basics and find out all these terrorists that show tax and they are all purely on monetary oriented. That is why in Nigerian politics, power and money rings bell. Because of power and money rings bell, that is why you see all these terrorists attacking people. But let me tell Nigeria, whether we like it or not, it is very, very difficult for us with the present knowledge we have, whether cognitive or non-cognitive theory we have, we cannot control this system. Unless we make use of what we call an international authority, intelligence agencies that are ready to give us the answers. What are the answers? When anything happens, they are there within 6 hours. They will trace whosoever that is responsible. That is the only solution. But as long as we are still following our own theory, BBC, born before computer theory, we cannot get it anywhere.
All right, then. Thank you very much, Mazi Okora, for calling in with that suggestion. You heard him, Isaac. I hope you heard him.
Yes, I heard, but I didn't hear him clearly. Please, can you repeat?
Okay. He was, well, in short, he was saying that, look, in addition to whatever we're doing locally, we do need external support. In other words, I think he was suggesting that we should not be afraid or embarrassed to ask for help where we need it. And I think he's saying that that would go some way.
You see, Uncle Yomi, I have embedded with the military. At the time, I spent 4 hours on one mission, with the Nigerian Air Force, hovering around the northeast, around on above Baga, and some Madagali, in the northeast, chasing Boko Haram. What we realized from the airplane was that these people hide under shrubs. They hide under trees. They have a way, even also, to beat even the drones or the technology that you can use to monitor them from above. And we also have to take into cognizance the fact that the military cannot just drop a bomb or open fire on these people, because most time they use their kidnappers, their abductees, like the school kids, as shields. So they dwell amongst them. So this is why it is paramount that we have soldiers, that we have foot soldiers, we have boots on ground. And the boots that are going to be on ground should be the forest dwellers, the rural dwellers who are familiar with those terrain. Of course, we need we need international assistance. The world is a global village. Any technology that can be deployed, any help that can be given to us by any sister or brother nation, to help us in ending this security, I'm sure our president is always happy to work with those assistants.
And it's an interesting point that you bring up, because even though people sometimes refer to them as ragtag kind of militias, I think it would be a mistake to sort of underrate them, because some of them are said to be quite comfortable with IT. You just spoke about knowing how to counteract the effect of drones, for instance, and all of that. And also, they're very strategic. They know that they can't move out in the open. So I don't know. It stands to reason they might be doing a lot more work after dark, when things are a bit more difficult for those overhead to see them. But the point you made about needing boots on the ground, it goes back to the point we were speaking about earlier, that there's a shortage. The numbers that we have at our disposal are nowhere near what a country of 220 million, I don't know what portion of that is actually in the direct line of fire of these people. But these are all important points. So I thank you that you've come forward to air this matter again. It's not the first time that you've been speaking about this, but we need to continue to speak about it. And I think it's also important to note Esther that called in and alerted that people are afraid that when women and children are in a crucial position, and they're afraid because they don't know who to trust. And that's why we spoke about, in fact, use the last minute or so we have, because you didn't get a chance because of interruptions, to speak about the mullahs, the religious leaders, the emirs, the traditional rulers, all of who are very, very powerfully influential people, and the role that they can play about this. We have very little time.
Yes, of course, our traditional rulers are the owners of the forest. Traditionally, they are the owners of the people dwelling in the forest. They know that forest very well. And as such, if they are brought in on advisory roles to help us to identify the individuals, who are familiar with this forest, who can be recruited, into the forest guard, it's going to help a lot. They will also be able to work closely with our security apparatus to identify what parts of the forest, are these people hiding, And also, I'd like to also add here that despite the fact that we as a nation are facing financial issues, in Nigeria now, and we're trying to cut short our level of spending, we should be able to look critically into this issue, because the issue of these terrorists in the forest is a national issue. It is
Indeed.
not a state issue. It is not that. It is a national issue, and we cannot just wish them away. These people are not just going to pack their things from the forest when they are already engaging in a multi-million-dollar, not naira, million-dollar business. So they are going.
Yeah.
Sometimes I hear from government officials, they say that if we recruit the forest guard now, after the criminals have gone, what will they be doing? I'm here to tell you that on good authority that these people, these criminals are not just going to leave us. We need to deal with them squarely.
Thank you very much, Isaac. Mr. Isaac Abrak, journalist, chairman, Northern Chairman News professional, and you heard he's been embedded with some of the parties to this conflict that we are all addressing. I want to thank you very much for coming on yet again. Really appreciated it, and also your insights into the situation. We're going to have to leave it there. That's our program for today. Join us on Monday for a fresh edition. I am Iyori Folari. Bye-bye for now.